Hey Melissa, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right. So just wanted to hop on a quick call with you and just kind of chat with so just to introduce you to everybody who's watching, you're my go-to attorney for a lot of the clients that I work with in real estate transactions. And there's a lot of confusion and questions surrounding what's going on in real estate with regards to the coronavirus and how that's affecting how we're doing business. Now, just I want to preface our conversation here with just to say that what we're talking about is not an attempt to downplay the seriousness of the coronavirus. I just want everybody to do everything that they can to be safe in regards to that. Having said that, I still wanted to chat about real estate because a lot of people are asking me as a real estate agent, what's going on with the virus? How's it affecting real estate sales? Are people buying? Are people selling? Are they sitting on the sidelines? And my perspective is that people are still moving forward with what they need. Housing is still a need. And that's what I'm seeing. What are you seeing on your side from the legal perspective?
Really the same thing. I mean, at the end of the day, people are still going to buy, people are still going to sell. We're doing it a little bit in a different way. A lot of the offices, attorneys' offices and things are working from home. So the townships are doing a lot via remote searches, and inspections are being put off a little bit for the COs. Or they're doing affidavits, or they're adjusting things so that the market can move forward. Mortgage companies are still moving forward. I mean, the vast majority of people, I think, are working from home these days, but you have a couple of people in the office who are still there taking deposits and doing things like that they need to have done. But everything's moving forward and it's still coming in. We're busy. The market is still moving. It's still booming.
Yeah.
Interest rates are great.
Yep. So just for people who aren't aware of what you mentioned, a couple of things for people that aren't involved in real estate may not know. The towns, all the towns in New Jersey require what's called a smoke cert, a verification that all the smoke detectors and fire extinguishers and carbon monoxide detectors in the house work. Some towns also go above and beyond that with seek certificates of occupancy and construction records clearance things. So that's where the townships come in, because a lot of township offices are closed and county offices are closed, at least to the public. So from your standpoint, you're seeing that is still something that's being able to be handled.
Yeah, I haven't had any issues thus far. Even in the towns that are saying they won't come out to do the inspection, they have found workarounds to not halt the market. At the end of the day, there are still rate locks in place and things like that. Although I think most lenders will be somewhat lenient with those things. The towns do not seem to be trying to stand in the way of anyone to get their real estate closing done. And in fact, they're trying to make arrangements to help everybody move forward in the most efficient way possible. The townships and the counties have been incredibly good about corresponding any kind of changes and the new ways to do things and how to get in touch with them. And we haven't had any issues. A lot of the towns will have like drop boxes so that if you do have to drop something off, like a check or whatever, you can drop it off in this drop box and somebody will get it from there. And then you call and you fax and you make requests or you send emails, but there's been workarounds every corner.
Yeah, I'd seen that a lot of towns have those they've always been in place, those drop boxes for people that wanted to pay their taxes. People who were paying their quarterly taxes uh, on their own had to do that in the past, so that was something that always existed and they're just making more use of right now. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I guess on the bright side, at least we have enough technology at our fingertips so that we're able to navigate through all this and still get everything done, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the technology that it's at our hands is unbelievably good. I think the only snag that we've run into is for people who are selling who are out of state, where the requirements for notaries and things are a little bit difficult or different. They have not authorized us as attorneys to do online notarizations of documents. So for sales purposes, we still need to meet with people and sign off on things, which is fine. I mean, they're limiting access to people at this point. I think it's maybe 10 or 25 people, whatever it is. And you're never going to have that many people signing off on a deed. So we're pretty okay as far as that goes. But if you're out of the state of New Jersey, I had one in, I want to say it was North Carolina, excuse me, yesterday. And we ended up we did find a workaround for it, but there was nobody available there to notarize the documents. So
Yeah.
those have hit a little bit of a snag, but even in those situations, we found workarounds.
So we are, us agents have at our disposal electronic signature methods that we've always been using. But if that's not the case, sometimes we do have to overnight. Have you seen any snags with getting documents back and forth in a timely manner?
No, the documents are coming back. UPS and FedEx are still delivering very, very quickly. They're still doing everything that they need to do. So even though it seems like things are delayed or almost impossible, they're really not. There's so much out there for technology-wise that we're finding workarounds really at every corner. The delivery people have been amazing. We haven't had any delays with documents.
That's good. So
and actually, I was going to say in that same vein, we have title companies will often allow closings based on receiving copies of the documents before receiving the originals. So even if a document is delayed, as long as we have a faxed or emailed copy in advance, we're fine.
Good. All right. So a lot of that stuff that we've talked about so far was township level, and anything with regards to the county level stuff when it comes to title searches or personal judgment searches, things like that. Has there been any snags or hiccups with that?
So the counties rather, a lot of them are online. Unfortunately, Hunterdon County specifically is not online. But Hunterdon County, though closed to the public, is open for searchers by appointment only, from what I understand. So that's not even being delayed at this point. The searchers are just making appointments and going in and doing all of their searches at the same time. Counties like Somerset County and Middlesex County, they're online. They may not have all of their archives online. So as a seller, we generally ask anyway, but as a seller, if you know where your title policy is from when you purchased, it's a 5-page document. It says this is your title policy, and it gives a bunch of exceptions. That document is probably a little more important now than it was before. Because the way that title insurance works is it insures over from the time you purchased going backwards. So if you bought in the year 2000, your policy will cover from 2000 going backwards, which would keep the searchers from having to look into any kind of archives. Most of the counties that aren't online go back to the 1980s or so. So it'll just pick up and be seamless.
Right. Good. All right. So is there anything that you would say to someone who's like, I'd like to make a move. Is now the right time to do it? So here's a good question, actually, and then we maybe can lead into that. How's activity been for contracts that you're receiving for purchase and sales?
We are still well within line of what we would expect to see. I think last week we had received 15 or 16 contracts. This week we're right around the same. And for those viewers who don't know, the contracts have to be turned over to the attorneys within 3 days of signing. So that means the contracts that I'm receiving this week were signed after, our shutdown or our quarantine time period had already started. So it's not even like these have been in the works for weeks and, they're just getting them back. Most of the situations, I don't think that's the case, which is great. Everybody's still doing what they need to do and still moving forward. It doesn't seem like many people are deterred. I think there are probably a handful of people who are deterred from listing their houses. In those instances where they're deterred from listing their houses, if you are listing your house, you're ahead of the game because you're a small amount of inventory on the market. And we often have at this time of the year, it's a constant struggle every year, coronavirus or not, that we have a low inventory. It's hard to keep up on it. Just as a general rule, things are on the market for a couple of days, maybe a week, and then it's sold. So this creates even more of that situation. Yeah.
And that's a number that I've been looking at myself, even before the coronavirus. It was a phenomenon that we were going through last year, through the fall, through the holidays, and even into the new year now. And if you even took out the fact that we had the coronavirus to deal with, even before that, we were at historic lows. And when I say historic, they've been tracking the number since the early 1980s, and it's the lowest number of amount of inventory that we've had since they've been recording it, 40 years ago.
I don't know what you have seen over the years, probably the last 5 years or so when I've really been paying attention to the markets, the ebbs and flows. I would say generally people are putting their stuff on the market end of February, your sellers, and the market doesn't seem to really catch up to what the demand is until like May or June.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people wait to put their house on the market because of kids in school or what have you. And then you get kind of an influx of inventory, and then it slows down again June, July, August, where there's not as much on the market, and it kind of goes down again. So we tend to see it, sellers have kind of their pick of contracts often at this time of the year. It's just the way it works. Like they'll end up, if you have a good house and it shows well, you're getting hits on that pretty quickly. You'll get 2-3 contracts on it.
Yep. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I've been telling my clients, if they were looking to get, when's the best time to list? And what we've been noticing is that because of the shortage of inventory, any of the buyers who were seriously looking and they missed out on something in the fall, they kind of put everything on the sidelines, some of them, and came back out in the spring. They're actually getting back out earlier this year than they have in all the previous year because they knew that there was an inventory shortage.
The market picked up this year, I would say end of January, beginning of February, where in previous years we saw it really mid-March, beginning of March, really end of February. If you were lucky, it was a solid 3 weeks earlier this year than I've seen in past years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I guess if there's one thing I can give a recommendation, if you are thinking about listing your house, listen to your realtor because they will tell you how to make it show the best. It's very hard for buyers to see past your lifestyle in your house. So realtors are really good about telling you got to take this down. You got to move the clutter. You've got to, make sure everything's neat and tidy. And you really want to follow those kind of directions because it'll help you sell your house faster.
It certainly does. I can speak from experience on that. So I appreciate it. Any last words of advice or anything that you want to tell anybody who's watching?
I guess the only thing I would say is if you're thinking about listing your house, now's the time to do it. Just keep going with the market.
Perfect. It's great advice.
You won't regret it.
Yeah. So anybody who's watching, if they want to reach out to you, if they have any questions that, were from the legal side of things or anything that you might be able to help them out with, how can they get in touch with you?
You can reach me on the office cell phone, either by call or text. That number's 908-323-5334. Again, that's 908-323-5334. And I'm always available by email as well. And my email address is Melissa, MELISSA @mjpmlaw.com.
Perfect. And I'll put that in the comments as well. So if anybody missed it or wasn't able to write it down in time, they'll have it in the comments too. All right, Melissa, appreciate it. Look forward to working with you some more in the future.
You too. Everybody be safe out there.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. You too.
Bye-bye.